All One Piece sagas, East Blue Saga, Romance Dawn. After being acquainted with Shanks, eating his devil fruit, and getting his straw hat, Luffy decides to be a pirate too. When Luffy nearly drowns because of a sea monster, Shanks saves him and loses an arm. Like many other pirates, Luffy wants to find the elusive One Piece that was left by Gul D. Roger. On the way, he meets Koby, who dreams of joining the Marines, but is stuck with Alvida and her abuse. Luffy helps him escape and heads to the next town. There he finds a pirate hunter tied outside by Captain Morgan. After beating up Helmeppo and his dad, he gets Koby in the Marines and leaves with his new ally. Orange Town. While at the next stop, Luffy and Zoro come across a thief named Nami who hates pirates because of past experiences. She still works with them to save people from Buggy's reign, realizing Luffy isn't like other pirates, even though she initially betrays him. And she joins them too. Syrup Village. The next village has the trio encounter Pinocchio himself, Usopp, who also happens to be Yasopp's son, a member of Shanks' crew. They need a new ship since they have Nami as a navigator, but they get mixed up in Usopp's affairs and have to face the Black Cat pirates who betray Kaya. After finding out Usopp's story, they leave with their first real ship, the Going Merry. Barati. Having resolved the problems, Luffy's crew end up at a sea restaurant to find a cook of their own. Don Krieg shows up to take over the popular spot but gets a good beatdown instead. The infamous Mihawk has followed, and Zoro challenges him to prove he's the best swordsman alive. He survives with a nasty scar, promising to never lose again, and Sanji joins them after revealing his time on a deserted island and his dream of the All Blue. Oh, and Nami stole their ship, Arlong Park. The crew discover Nami's an unwilling Arlong pirate from an agreement. Her hometown, including her sister, are under his control, and her adopted mother was killed by him years prior to save her daughters. The Straw Hats fight the Fishman pirates to save Nami and her village. After they succeed, she joins them officially now that her debt is gone. Logue Town. The last stop before the Grand Line proves to be a dangerous place. Zoro needs to replace 2 swords thanks to Mihawk. Meanwhile, Alvida and Buggy want revenge and trap Luffy. With Smoker there too, he won't let them get away. But Dragon saves Luffy from arrest and the Straw Hats. Alabasta Saga, Reverse Mountain. After struggling to climb upwards, Laboon the whale swallows them when Luffy hits him. They throw 2 unwanted people off the ship and promise to come back for Laboon since his crew hasn't in 50 years. The Straw Hats get a log pose from Crocus to navigate, and then let the 2 they threw off come back so they can get to Whiskey Peak. Whiskey Peak. Strangely, the duo jump off the ship before arriving at shore. The crew are nearly robbed by the Baroque Works members, but Zoro catches them. After finding out the situation, Igaram pretends to be Vivi so she can escape with the Straw Hats and has his ship blown up for his kindness. Miss All Sunday, Robin when she's Crocodile's partner, appears on the Going Merry, but doesn't try to hurt them. She offers them an eternal pose, but they don't trust her and go their own way. Little Garden. With Princess Vivi aboard, they end up on an island with dinosaurs supersized everything and giants in perpetual battle, Dory and Brogy. They're beaten and caught by Mr. 3 while Karoo's taken to lure Vivi. Mr. 5 then takes Vivi hostage as the Straw Hats are slowly covered in wax. To answer a call, Sanji pretends to be Mr. 3, and Mr. 2 is on the way to kill him as per Crocodile's orders. Drum Island. After being poisoned by a mosquito, Nami gets extremely sick just as they're on the way to the next island. In need of a doctor urgently, Luffy and Sanji have to climb a snowy mountain to get help from Kureha. Wapol, the previous king, comes back to stir up trouble at the same time. Kureha's assistant Chopper reveals his tragedy with Hiruluk. The Straw Hats and Chopper join get rid of Wapol, and Chopper joins the crew after a tearful goodbye. Dalton remembers a message from Ace too late. Alabasta. Finally Vivi's home, but it's a political mess. The crew befriends Mr. 2, Bon Clay, bumps into Ace at a bar, and escapes Smoker. After Sanji rescues the captured Straw Hats elsewhere, Luffy gets stabbed by Crocodile, then saved by Robin. A huge clash breaks out between Baroque Works, the Straw Hats, and the Marines to decide what will happen with the country. Crocodile loses his warlord status, while Bon Clay helps them escape the Marines. Vivi stays behind to rebuild, but Robin joins the crew. Sky Island Saga, Jaya. Robin joins the crew with Zoro, the only one still suspicious of her. They try to get info about Sky Island and meet Bellamy. He's less than friendly towards them. Mont Blanc helps them with info, but Bellamy gets in the way. Luffy knocks him out, and the crew find the jet stream and sail up before Blackbeard can catch them. Sky P up. Having rode the knock-up stream, they end up in the sky. While they're seeking treasure, they find war instead between three parties. The natives, the Shandians, and NL, who calls himself a god. They also realize Upper Yard is the gold city Mont Blanc wanted to find. Luffy faces Enel, since he's basically rubber with Sanji and Nami's help. Enel leaves for the moon, and Robin reads a poneglyph about Poseidon. Water 7 Saga, Long Ring. The Foxy Pirates challenge the Straw Hats to a Davy-back fight while they're on their way to find a shipwright. After 3 events, the game is over, but not the danger. They have to face Admiral Aokiji, who freezes Robin, and Luffy afterwards, but he lets them leave because of their actions in Alabasta. Water 7. They arrive in a land filled with shipwrights who could repair the Going Merry, but they're told it's beyond saving, which leads to a fight between Luffy and Usopp. Meanwhile, Robin leaves the crew to save them from a buster call. And while trying to fix their ship, they're accused of murder. Also, CP9 attacks the Straw Hats too, trying to get blueprints from Frankie. Everyone decides to go rescue Robin, including the mysterious Soga King, but she doesn't want to be saved. Annie's Lobby, the Straw Hats, the Frankie family, and Galley Law workers all arrive at the government spot. They fight through Marines and assassins, worrying Spandam, and Luffy reveals Gear 2. When they find out about Robin's past, the crew still want to save her, and Soga King shoots the Marine flag down. Later, Frankie burns the priceless blueprints, so Spandam drags Robin away, while the Straw Hats must fight off CP9 to set her free. After succeeding, there's still the Buster call to face. The Going Merry helps save them, but can't be sailed anymore, and they set it on fire and cry. This arc also introduces new moves for everyone, except Robin. Post Enies Lobby, the crew return to Water 7 after the intense battle, and Garp pays them a visit, along with Kobe and Helmeppo, shocking everyone with their family ties. Later, Robin chats with Aokiji about the years since they met, while Shanks and Whitebeard prepare for what's to come from Ace's actions against Blackbeard. The crew get a new ship called the Thousand Sunny and Frankie as a bonus, and Usopp rejoins, no longer pretending to be Soga King. Garp chases them out faster, flinging bombs, as Ace plans to avenge Thatch's death. Thriller Bark. The Straw Hats end up at the Florian Triangle. They encounter a skeleton musician, Brook, who lost his shadow and crew. They end up on an island of monsters and ghosts, where Gecko Moria rules. To get their shadows back, they have to defeat him and his allies before the sun comes up. After much fighting, Zoro says his famous line because of Kuma and saving Luffy's life. Afterwards, Luffy finds out Ace is in trouble. Summit War Saga, Sabaody. At the Red Line, the Straw Hats get involved with a mermaid and starfish and have to save Hatchin along with them. This leads them to Sabaody to prepare their ship for underwater travel, but an auction draws their attention, with Marines at every corner after Luffy attacks a world noble named Charlos. It doesn't help that so many high-value pirates have gathered in one place. Rayleigh tries to help the Straw Hats escape, but Kuma proves too much for them and separates the crew. But it turns out to save their lives. Amazon Lily. Luffy hangs out with a bunch of women on a secret island and nearly gets killed until he shows his willingness to protect Boa and her sister's secret branding. While there, Luffy finds out Ace is set to be executed by the Marines as an example, just like with Goldie Roger. He asks for Boa's help both to get there and to find his crew, and she easily agrees now that she's fallen for him. Meanwhile, Nami is on Wetheria, Frankie's on Karakuri, Sanji's on Momowaro, Usopp is on Boyne, Brooks being treated like a savior, Robin's in shackles, Chopper's in Torino, and Zoro faces Mihawk on his home base, Impel Down. Boa sneaks Luffy into the prison so he can save Ace. He teams up with Buggy to get through guards, and Mr. 3 joins along. Bon Clay ends up being alive too. Together they have to face Magellan, the Warden, and his deadly poison. But Mr. 3 ditches Luffy, while Bon Clay comes back after feeling guilty for leaving a friend. They rush to Ivankov to treat the poison, but it requires taking years off Luffy's lifespan. They arrive to see Ace has been moved already, so Iva suggests they free Crocodile as backup, with Jinbei volunteering to join them. Luffy briefly gets distracted by Blackbeard, but remembers his goal to save Ace. As he continues on, Bon Clay stays behind to face Magellan, possibly dying for good, and Blackbeard recruits the ex-warden Shiryu to his crew, Marineford. Ace's father is revealed to the world, and Sengoku's willing to go to war to make an example of him. The gates open by themselves from a malfunction, and hundreds of pirates come through, including Whitebeard's fleet. All admirals and Sengoku face Whitebeard and his sons, but so does Mihawk as a warlord. Little Oars Jr. tries to reach Ace's platform, only to be attacked and sliced up on the way. When Jinbei notices Luffy, he resigns as a warlord to instead help him. And without the aid of him, Ivankov, Hancock, Crocodile, and Whitebeard's crew, Luffy wouldn't have reached him. Luffy uses Haki to knock the lower-level guards out, and Garp lets him save Ace by taking his punch. But Whitebeard gets overwhelmed by Marines due to his failing health. Still, his devil fruit shakes and destroys massive parts of Marineford. Luffy nearly gets away with Ace, but Akainu jumps in, taunting him, and when he targets Luffy, Ace takes the hit instead. This scorches his internal organs, with no chance of survival. Upon seeing this, Garp has to be held back by Sengoku himself not to avenge Ace, while Luffy's too devastated to fight back, and has to be dragged away by Jinbei. Whitebeard fights Akainu and other Marines in revenge, and to let Luffy escape. It's also a way to keep his crew safe. Before dying and after being riddled with bullets by Blackbeard and crew, he confirms the One Piece is real. Blackbeard steals Whitebeard's power, now possessing 2 devil fruits, and Luffy is surprisingly saved by Crocodile and put aboard Law's ship for medical help. As the war rages on needlessly, causing Kobe to break down in horror, Shanks arrives to stop both sides and the mindless bloodshed. He promises to bury them in private and to leave peacefully. Post-war, the world changes with the loss of Whitebeard. Some celebrate, and some mourn his passing since he was a protector to them. Luffy struggles to accept Ace's death and reflects on his past with his brother, as well as the loss of his other sworn brother, Sabo. But thanks to Jinbei, he remembers his crew and how he needs to rejoin them. Meanwhile, all the members find out about Ace's death, and Garp and Sengoku resign due to their actions and failures. Luffy later returns to Marineford and rings the bell as a symbol of war, and the Straw Hats begin to train for their reunion in 2 years. Luffy will be with Rayleigh, mastering his Haki usage and not allowed any contact with Hancock citizens. Fishman Island Saga returned to Sabaody. 2 years have passed, so Luffy goes back to Sabaody Archipelago to reunite with the Straw Hats. Before that, he refuses to marry Hancock. With the Marine HQ moved, there's a lot more crime on Sabaody, like the fake Straw Hats terrorizing. They're good enough to trick Chopper. Brook retires from his Rockstar Dom to be with the crew, and Sanji's happy to be with women again, especially Nami and Robin. The first to arrive, Zoro got lost as usual, but this time because of fishing. The Marines are on the island meanwhile, ready to catch them all. They escape, and Luffy thanks Rayleigh for everything, while the former Roger Pirate keeps the Marines busy, and they dive underwater with the coated sunny Fishman Island. Rayleigh reveals Luffy's hat came from Roger and how much he reminds him of the deceased man. Frankie also explains that Hatch and Duval and Kuma kept the Thousand Sunny safe from Marines while they were all separated. As they travel deeper into the sea, they have to escape Vanderdeck and Nine and a volcano to get to the island and reunite with Cammy. Hody Jones prepares to be a threat to people on the surface and the Fishman Royals, with Decken joining him in that cause. We find out about the past with Oda Hime, Shirahoshi's mother and her peace-loving nature, and Fisher Tiger, the original captain of the Fishman Pirates who wasn't as brutal as Arlong or Hody. The Straw Hats have to fight the new Fishman pirates with Jinbei's help to end the hatred. Afterwards, Robin asks about Joy Boy and the Poneglyphs, finding out about the weapons and its connection to Shirahoshi. And of course, Luffy causes friction with Big Mom over a transponder snail when they end up destroying her candy factory. Dressrosa Saga, Punk Hazard. Now in the New World, the Straw Hats receive a call for help involving a samurai, and head there with Smoker following discreetly. The island shows the remnants of Kuzan and Sakazuki's battle for Fleet Admiral with half fire, half ice. Aokiji lost, unfortunately. The Straw Hats end up tangled with Law and his revenge plans against Doflamingo, as well as Caesar's nefarious experiments on children to make them giants. We also find out Law became a warlord by sending hearts to the world government. After some problems, the crew get hilariously body-swapped for a bit, including Smoker and Tashigi, thanks to Law not wanting them to get in his way. After Brownbeard explains what the island used to be like and the monstrosities going on, Samurai Kinemon and his son Momonosuke partner with them temporarily. And Law eventually agrees to an alliance to reach his goals, but only until then. This includes stopping the creation of artificial devil fruits, which have a myriad of bad effects. They save the children, run from a slime monster and petrifying gas called Shinokuni. But to overcome this, not only do they need Law's help, but Smoker and Tashigi too. They capture Caesar to get Doflamingo's attention. As he flies towards Punk Hazard, Baby 5 and Buffalo are beaten. Even Smoker covers for the pirates, to add insult to injury. Dressrosa. The Straw Hats and Law continue their alliance as planned, but Luffy is as unpredictable as ever. Doflamingo now no longer a warlord, new Admiral Fujitora is sent to deal with the Pirate Samurai Alliance. But Dressrosa still suffers Daffy's control, and he puts Ace's Devil Fruit as a trap for Luffy in the Colosseum. He uses a disguise and changes his name to Lucy to enter the tournament, while Bellamy also turns out to be in Dressrosa. Fellow contestant Chinjao turns out to have history with Garp and holds it against Luffy. Sanji's habit of chasing women, this time her name is Viola, he finds out Doflamingo lied about his resignation. A tribe of fairies, actually dwarves called Tontada, are the ones who took Zoro's sword and caught Robin and Usopp, though they see Usopp as their savior, so anyone connected to him is immediately trusted. Meanwhile, Frankie's involved with the Smile Factory and its destruction, as well as finding out the toys are former humans. Luffy, on the other hand, gained some admirers like Bartolomeo and Cavendish, and Rebecca, who wanted to protect the toy soldier. The Thousand Sunny team didn't have it easy, being turned into living art while trying to keep the ship safe. Even Sanji and Law aren't enough to keep Doflamingo back when he shows up. Speaking of which, we find out about Law's history with Daffy, and how he killed Corazon, his own brother, because he betrayed him as a spy for Sengoku, as well as the deadly illness that almost cost Law his life at 8 years old, if not for the fruit Corazon made him eat. Law's nearly taken out by Daffy, and in front of Luffy no less. If that's not enough, Big Mom brought some of her crew to collect Caesar and the money he owes her. The Straw Hats had no choice but to split up, with some of them heading to Zoo to avoid more conflict. We also get the surprise reunion of a long-thought-dead character, Sabo and Luffy at the Colosseum. Now a revolutionary under Dragon, he takes over the task of getting Ace's Devil Fruit. Daffy's crew gave the Straw Hats trouble, not to mention his birdcage that sliced everyone indiscriminately. Luffy premiered his Gear 4 transformation, a bouncing man that Daffy doesn't take seriously and pays for it. But they won in the end, tanked after freeing the toys and helping the dwarves. The Marines even bowed in apology to King Riku and all those who suffered under Daffy's reign. The Straw Hat Grand Fleet is born and helps them escape the Marines, not that Fujitora wanted to chase them much. Elsewhere, Kaido tried to die again by jumping from the sky. Daffy got locked and impelled down, and Sanji's wanted poster changed. Whole Cake Saga, Zoo. The Straw Hats and Samurai reunite with the others who arrived first, but Sanji is missing because of complicated family problems. They realize the island is a giant old elephant that they must board, housing a tribe of anthropomorphic mammals. The minks are secretive, and Carrot isn't very friendly at first. It's because one of Kaido's men, another pirate named Jack, had recently demolished an area and tortured a member of their tribe. But otherwise, they have no problem with outsiders and Garchu them. There are 2 rulers, but they couldn't do anything for the lingering gas that Caesar had created. 2 subordinates of Big Mom came to hurt the Straw Hats and reclaim Caesar, but Pakams changed his mind, Beg shot him, and told Sanji about his upcoming wedding to Pudding with no room for argument. Finally, the truth of Sanji's bloodline and the deadly Germa 66 is revealed to the Straw Hats. Later on, Kinemon wants to speak with his ally Raizo, and it turns out the Minks were keeping him hidden from the Beast Pirates. The Minks have their own poneglyph, so Robin gets to work deciphering it. This one would help lead them to the final island, Loftail. Knowing Momonosuke is the rightful leader of Wano and not Kaido, a new alliance is created, Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai. But Jack came back, ready to attack the giant elephant this time. Both Luffy and Momo hear an odd voice, realizing something's wrong, but one swipe was enough to get rid of Jack and his subordinates. The Straw Hats separate again, this time to rescue Sanji from his family and Big Mom. Luffy, Nami, Brook, and Chopper go that way while the rest go ahead to Wano. Pedro requests to join them too, with Carrot sneaking aboard their ship to come along. Whole Cake Island. Wanting answers from Sanji, Luffy's group goes to Big Mom's island. Without Sanji, not only are they starving, but Luffy nearly poisons himself when he eats whatever he can find. If not for Reiju helping him, the plan might have ended there. The retrieval team meet Pudding and are fooled by her kindness, not unlike Sanji. Jinbei finally decides to join the Straw Hats and leave his crew at the risk of his life. Pedro joined Brook to seek out Linlin's poneglyph. On the way to find Sanji, Luffy's team had to deal with not only weird forest creatures, but odd clones and Big Mom's children. Carrot and Chopper end up trapped in Brulee's mirrors. Luffy faced Cracker for hours, Pakams escaped from Bege, and Caesar has had 2 weeks to finish gigantifying Linlin's kids. Sanji didn't have a choice but to tolerate his family's abuse, with the exploding cuffs and them outnumbering him. This reminded him of his past before meeting Zeph, and how he escaped with Reiyu's help. Nami and Luffy come across Sanji, happy to see him, only for him to beat the snot out of Luffy, while pretending he doesn't care. Luffy refuses to eat until he returns. Not only is Pudding meant to kill Sanji, but his entire family will be massacred. Luffy forms an alliance with Bege to free Sanji. Brook copies the poneglyph, and the wedding turns into a disaster. Also because of Katakuri's observation haki. Later, Pedro helps them escape by sacrificing himself, while Luffy faces Katakuri in the Miro world to let his crew escape. To calm Linlin's rage and hunger, Sanji and Pudding worked on a cake for her, but her fleet still follows, so Carrot uses her Sulong form to take them out. And Sanji's family take care of getting Luffy and him to the ship, with Germa 66 blocking Linlin's fleet. Levely. From the Big Mom debacle, Nami got Zeus, and Sanji was left with a raid suit. As the royals and nobles get ready for the big meeting, familiar faces react to the Straw Hats scuffle on Whole Cake. Rumors of Luffy being the next emperor make Shanks happy, but not the others. We also see Imu for the first time, and the precious Straw Hat. Meanwhile, Charlos is up to his same antics, trying to take Shirahoshi as a pet. He would have succeeded if not for Myoskar. Kuma isn't so lucky, being ridden by Rosword, but Sabo is secretly there, intending to free him from the treatment as a fellow revolutionary. Wano country. The Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai Alliance finally reunites on Wano to stop Kaido. The Straw Hats use secret identities on the island, and Luffy meets Tama, who met Ace but didn't know he died. Luffy beats up a sumo wrestler to save Kiku. At Odin's castle, we find out about Odin, his history with Whitebeard and Roger, and how he passed. Afterwards, a drunk Kaido attacks the Alliance, and Luffy fights him and gets thrown in jail. He unintentionally adds Kid to the Alliance while they both do labor. Sanji meets the Toko, whose village is cursed to laugh, as he's selling ramen. Komurasaki, Momo's sister, is close with her too, even defending her from Orochi's threats. Nami works with a kunoichi named Shinobu, and Frankie struggles to track down blueprints for Kinemon. Sanji's forced to use his raid suit to avoid being recognized, and Zoro befriends Tonoyasu, Toko's father. Big Mom lands on Wano, but gets attacked and loses her memory. She's taken around by Chopper, Chopper and Tama. Toko's forced to watch her father die in a public execution, with Zoro and Hiyori holding her back. Luffy gets broken out of jail by Big Mom accidentally, and her memories come back when Queen knocks her head. Hiyori gives Zoro a different sword, Enma, so the one he had can stay at a grave. Someone leaks information to Orochi to ruin the Alliance's secret attack, but Jinbei finally arrives to lend a hand. Before the big battle, Kaido's insistent on finding his son Yamato, a young woman who believes he's the reincarnation of Odin. While Kaido's side celebrates, Kinemon splits up their forces to face him and Orochi, and to save Momonosuke. The search team Nami involved has to face Black Maria's area. Yamato offers to join Luffy to take down Kaido since he disagrees with him. War begins between the Alliance and Kaido, Big Mom, and Orochi. Drake is a member of Sword working deep undercover. The samurais try to beat Kaido on their own, but can't, as Queen sends out a virus to everyone, including Chopper down below. Sanji faces Black Maria, but refuses to hurt her, so Robin unleashes her inner demon. Kid and Luffy head towards Kaido, but so does Linlin and Marco, carrying Zoro. Yamato hides Momo and Shinobu so they stay out of the fight. The battle begins with Law, Luffy, Zoro, Kid, and Killer versus the two emperors. Luffy's inexperience with hockey makes him lose, and he nearly drowns as he's thrown overboard. Down in the party area, Big Mom causes chaos while Kaido stays in the air. Yamato faces his father to give the Alliance time to return. Zeus comes in clutch for Nami and Usopp against Ulti, as Tama's Dangos control the gifters chasing them. Jinbei finds out about Nika through Who's Who. With Luffy recovered, Momonosuke ages up and flies him to Kaido for a dragon fight. Sanji can't face Queen and King alone, so Zoro jumps in thanks to Marco's healing abilities. Killer defeats Hawkins and his straw doll, thanks to Kid's missing arm. Kid and Law face Big Mom with awakened powers, and Drake and Apu have to team up against CP0, who also want to capture Robin. Round 3 of Luffy versus Kaido goes differently. He awakens his Devil Fruit in Gear 5 and defeats the beast at last. Elsewhere, Vivi's father's killed, and she disappears. Sabo's hunted for freeing Kuma and blamed for the murder. Outside Wano, Ryokugyu tries to stop Luffy from leaving, but Momo, Yamato, and Shanks all stop him. Final saga, Egghead Island. The Straw Hats read the shocking news regarding Vivi and Sabo, and their alliance may have ended while the Cross Guild's born. Amazon Lilies attacked not only by the Marines, but by Blackbeard trying to take Boa's Devil Fruit. Rayleigh saved her. Sabo's targeted for seeing Imu, the 5 elders, and their actions. Likewise, Leloucha Kingdom's erased. Kobe's been taken to Hachinosu, and Drake is basically MIA. The Straw Hats come across Bonnie near Egghead, and bring her along with Zoro and Brook watching the ship. The island is futuristic and filled with holograms and robotic people, including 6 satellites for Vegapunk, and Bonnie reveals Kuma's her father. The Heart Pirates are ambushed by Blackbeard's crew, while CP0 and Seraphim head to Egghead to assassinate Vegapunk. This is in part because the knowledge from Ohara was saved by Vegapunk and Saul. That tragedy encouraged Dragon to create the Revolutionary Army as well. Afterwards, Mjosgard is executed for protecting Shirahoshi, and the nobles starve due to the revolutionaries destroying their food supplies. Lucci and Kaku attack the satellites, but don't have permission to fight the Straw Hats. Kizaru's on the way for that with battleships with Saturn. Garp, meanwhile, heads to Hachinosu with Helmeppo to free Kobe, who was taken as leverage. Garp is stabbed, but still fights Kuzan on the island, and after helping them escape, he stays behind. The Kid Pirates reach Elbaf and fight Shanks again. Sentomaru orders the Seraphim to help the Straw Hats and Vegapunk, putting his life in danger. Bonnie insists on knowing why Vegapunk did all those alterations to Kuma. Stussie's revealed as a mole in the Marines. When the Seraphim go out of control, Lucci and Kaku work with the Straw Hats. The island has to be evacuated because of an imminent buster call, just like with Ohara. York wants to be the sole Vegapunk, turning on her allies. Kizaru gets through the barrier, leading Vice Admirals, Marines, and even Saturn to attack the pirates and Vegapunk. Kuma returns even though he's meant to shut down, and saves Bonnie. The Pacifista Control is also overridden by her, leading to Vegapunk's eventual death for that programming. Before his passing, he makes sure to broadcast secret information to the world. The giant pirates arrive next to help them escape, with Saturn bumping into Blackbeard's allies, and Caribou offers information about ancient weapons to join their crew. Saturn summons the other elders to the island, as Zoro keeps fighting with Lucci until Jinbei drags him away to the ship. The elders follow as they escape, but the Iron Giant Emmet helps them as an ally of Joy Boy. Also, Lilith holds all other satellites who died in the conflict. Saturn's destroyed for failing to stop them, with Vegapunk's research sent into the clouds and out of reach. Elbaf. The Straw Hats go to Elbaf with the giant warrior pirates, along with Lilith and Bonnie. Bartolomeo gets punished by the red hair pirates for burning their Jolly Roger, getting their ship demolished. Blackbeard defeats Law's crew, returning to both Garp and Pudding as prisoners. He prepares to become a hero for the nobles by restoring their food supply from the Revolutionary Army. Half of the Straw Hats are caught and used as toys by a giant named Rode until they break free. The others are told of the accursed prince, who killed his father and ate the devil fruit he had, which is why they weren't able to come help them sooner. Luffy, of course, runs into said prince all chained up and named Loki. Robin gets to reunite with Saul in a touching moment, and she gets to see the library holding all the saved books from Ohara. Some mysterious people show up looking for Loki at the castle to make him join God's Knights, but Luffy plans to free him in exchange for info on where Shanks is. The two people, Gunko, who tortures Loki, and Shamrock, who is Shanks' brother, made it clear they wouldn't give up on conquering the giants. Shamrock attacks with intent to kill, moving on to capture the children instead. Yasan is guarding Loki's keys and offers them if Luffy fights him. He turns out to be one of the Roger pirates, Scopper Gaban. Gunko summons assistance from the God's Knights, while Luffy begins freeing Loki of his chains, except one. Hadrudin is against him being freed, and Loki's not making it easy to trust him when he starts attacking with his hammer. After taking him down, the Straw Hats rush to save the children, only to be cut off by Gunko. As she's ranked above the world nobles, she can regenerate like the five elders. Gunko takes Colin hostage, demanding they destroy the library and the school. Robin and Gaban face Summers, but Gunko makes quick work of them. When it seems like something's happening to Gunko, Imu takes over her body. The giant warrior pirates try to take Imu down, but Brogy loses a hand in the process, and then turns him and the rest into demons. Imu intends to have Dory and Brogy be in charge of Elbaf and kill Jarul. Chopper's able to catch Gaban and brings him to Luffy to tell them what's going on. They intend to join the fight in Sunworld and will need all the help they can get, which includes Loki that they don't fully trust. And they intend to join the fight in Sunworld and will need all the help they can get, which includes Loki. Before going up, Luffy asks Loki to join his crew, big surprise, but is vehemently rejected, and Gaban confirms that the Knights of God aren't indestructible. Hadrudin doesn't want Loki's help due to his past crimes, which he's forced to explain. 109 years ago, the Giants were the most fearsome pirates, and Harold's behavior only made it worse. He was forced to see humans in a different way when he helped them rebuild what he destroyed, which led to his more peaceful beliefs. 105 years ago, he revealed his plans to build relationships with other lands. 24 years after that, Hadrudin was born out of wedlock. Harald was forced into an arranged marriage with Estrid. 63 years ago, Estrid gave birth to Loki. Estrid felt he was evil and threw him away. Loki climbed up from the underworld with his mother falling ill and convinced a prophecy leading to Harold's murder would happen. Then Jorel was killed by Linlin. Famine and natural disasters struck, further convincing her. Hadrudin was nearly killed because of his ties to Loki, but Harold saved him. When Estrid died, Harold finally met Loki. Later down the line, Rox, Newgate, Shiki, and Stussy arrived to see Harold, and Rox injured Loki as a ploy to get Harold there. In the past, at Mary Joyce, Rox had met Harold and recruited him, but he disagreed with Rox's behavior. Loki was more interested in the offer. 4 years later, Rox got control of Hachinosu, as intended. The Roger and Kuja pirates and Garp gained infamy around that time, with Shaki having the attention of Goldie Roger as a possible crewmate. Rox sought 2 more devil fruits, the Galila Band and Harold to conquer the world. On his side, Harold was forced to risk a spot in the world government when he attacked agents on Anishi, trying to use his people as slaves. Harold was offered another opportunity if he killed Rox. 42 years ago, Shaki retired and moved to Hachinosu. Rox returned to Elbaf, and Harold dueled him. 39 years ago, Shaki was abducted. A year later, Garling went to God Valley and found his sons, Shanks and Shamrock, killing their mother. The native hunting competition started, with Shaki as a prize. The Hachinosu pirates set off, with Rox revealing his true name and secret family. Dragon tried to save the twins, but Shamrock was taken, while Rayleigh saved Shaki from being executed. Garp contacted Sengoku about the massacre, both unaware of it beforehand. Then Imu came forth from Saturn's body, attacking everyone. Garp, Kaido, Roger, and Newgate attacked Imu, with no success. Imu then possessed Rox's body. Kuma transported Rox's wife and son away as Garp and Roger were asked to end his life. All pirates fled the island while Garp and Roger teamed up in a combined attack of Haki. Garling finished Rox off when he regained control of his mind. Later, Shanks was discovered by the Roger pirates. Garp was named a hero, while Loki was devastated at Rox's death. Dragon left the Marines and was imprisoned. Harold was deeply upset at the loss of an ally and removed his horns in a sign of peace at Marineford. 5 years following this, Harold worked to defeat pirates on the Grand Line as one of the Knights of God. Years later, Fisher Tiger helped free slaves thanks to a Knight of God offering the way to escape. Ida was poisoned by Estrid's supporters, so Loki set the village on fire. 15 years in the past, giants were appreciated as Marines, encouraging Harold to send his people to other islands. A year after that, Harold was given a chance to take over Shanks' spot, his final mission being the mobilization of the giants for the world government. Before any violence could be done to his people, he ordered the guards to chain him and to get his sons and Jarul. Harold couldn't die because of the Covenant, no matter what the guards did. He urged Loki to eat the fruit and become a hero. Shanks and Gaban showed up to help, with only Conqueror's Haki being effective. Loki ate the fruit, and Harold returned to his senses in time to say he loved him before dying. Imu couldn't believe Harold was defeated while suffering the toll from the Covenant. Imu insisted they were incompatible since Elbaf is part of D. Afterwards, Loki hid the truth and went off to sea. But now Hadrudin knows everything and frees Loki of his shackles.